how's everybody doing? You miss my barber? I miss my barber too, Tal. What is this? Oh, memories? Flashback. Ooh, I'm excited. Let's do this, as Culture was saying. How did I get into this mess? Who's that? Why? Why did I do that? Oh, I don't want to give him a... I need a face before I can give him, like, the voice. Is this Phoenix? That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. I don't know who's who. It looks like one of them's Phoenix. Oh my god. And he punched him? It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Interesting. 5 years earlier. Ooh, it's finally time. I'm kind of nervous. Ahem. Oh, Mr. Grossberg. Good morning.
Ah, Mia, please calm yourself down. You're going to get yourself arrested for suspicious behavior, you know.
What are you talking about? I am relaxed, Mr. Grossman. Grossberg, whatever your name is. Look at me, I'm relaxed.
Well, let go of my lapels. You obviously haven't got the temperament to be a lawyer.
I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm so nervous today.
Oh, that's right. This is your first time in the big leagues, isn't it? Well, never you fear, my dear. I'm Marvin Grossberg, in Metro Service.
Actually, this is my second time in court.
Still, you surprised me. Well, with your earnest request last night. Let me handle this case, you suddenly said, and quite forcefully, too.
I just found out yesterday about the case, I mean.
What? You're already learned all the relevant facts?
Well, about that, you see, I mean, of course I have, I think.
Oh dear. In any case, don't let our client see us some notice. You see the poor young man in the pink sweater over there? That's our client.
Good morning there, everybody. Good morning. Try to keep smiling, Mia. I just want to say, I'll give it all I got. Yep, it'll be fine, no problem. Hey, what's wrong? Do you have a cold or something, Mr. Rye? Actually, it's right. Like the Flying Brothers, people screw it up all the time. And yes, I have a cold. That's what this mask is for. My doc says this way I won't give it to anyone else. Be kind to others, he says. Right, Mr. Wright. You have nothing to fear in court today. If you are truly innocent, I promise I will save you. Please, let go of my shirt. That's right, he's the one on trial, not you. He's the one who should be nervous. You need to stay strong for your clients, Mia. My name is Mia Fey. I'm still pretty new to this lawyer thing. First time I appeared in court was a year ago. Oh wow, were you just doing nothing but transactional stuff in between there? That's very interesting. Oh, yeah, I guess so. But that trial traumatized me so badly I thought I'd never set foot in another courtroom. That judge was absolutely terrible. Hopefully I don't have him again. It's been 1 year since, and well, here I am again. But this time I'm going to win. For my clients and for myself. Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright. The defense is ready, Your Honor. God, man, Mia is just, oh, she has the whatchamacallit. Mia's looking fine.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
I'm actually glad he lost most of his hair. The defense today is Miss Mia Fey, was it? Yes, Your Honor. Is there a problem? I was under the impression that Marvin Grossberg was to be leading the defense. Yes, well, you see, Mr. Grossberg had a bit of an emergency. Emergency? But isn't that him standing there right next to you? Oh, Mia! I'm sporting the Prosecutor Payne haircut today. Oh, good lord. If that doesn't convince me to get a haircut, I don't know what will. Yes, well, you're just a rookie. Are you sure you can really handle this? Don't let him scare you, Mia. Give him your toughest look. Oh, the Phoenix. Of course, Your Honor. I think. Well, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, please.
Well. I can't believe a veteran like me has to spend his time babysitting a new defense lawyer.
Rosenberg's right there, so he'd be the person babysitting her if there was a babysitter, but whatever.
Don't worry, little girl. It will all be over soon.
Oh, God. Please stomp this dude in his nuts. What's that all about? Was he trying to trash talk me?
Now then, I'd like to proceed with a summary of events on the day in question. The incident occurred on the campus of Ivy University. The murder victim was a student named Doug Swallow. He was a fourth-year student studying pharmacology.
It sounds like he was a very bright young man.
Well, yes, next we have a photo taken at the scene of the crime. Stews discovered the scene shortly after the murder. They found the victim's body, and the defendant, who had obviously bungled his getaway. They then called the police.
That certainly makes the defendant look very suspicious indeed. Very well. The court accepts this photo into the record as evidence. By the way, I can't quite tell the cause of death from this photo. Excuse me, got a little bit of gas in my tummy that had to come up.
How disgusting, Your Honor. Your reputation for sagacity is well earned, Your Honor. The truth is that the victim died a rather unusual death.
An unusual death? What do you mean, Mr. Payne? I would just like to point out that again, the defense attorney would generally know that information before they ever step into court. If you're not dealing with this like super rushed system that exists in this game.
Well, perhaps the defense would like to take this question.
Huh?
A simple question. I thought I might loosen you up a bit. I'm a genteel man, if you will.
A what? Stand up to him, Mia. Show him what you're made of.
Perfect opportunity. Well, but what's it? Because, go on. Please say you know at least this much.
I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to read through the whole file. You know, even though the cause of death would probably be one of the main highlights of it.
My hemorrhoids are beginning to act up.
Oh God, why would you say that out loud? Just think it in your head, dude. Don't need to know about your ass sores.
Now see here, the details of the case are filed under the court record. You knew that already, didn't you?
Ah, the court record. I think I can see that by pressing the R button.
Oh, the way, but they can be found in the court record. Take a good look. Hard look at that and think quickly before you answer me. Alright.
Oh, they're not gonna let me look at it yet? Oh, fatal electric shock. That's right, the autopsy. I'm thinking of the larger report that they usually let you look through. Okay, so fatal electric shock. Yes, sir, I'll do just that. Got to stay calm. I can't let that prosecutor get the better of me. Court record. Okay, let's take a look. I just need to press the R button here. Now then, with the attorney for the defense, please answer the question. What was the cause of death? According to the court record, it was a fatal electric shock. In other words, electrocution. Electrocution? But how would such a thing happen? Did the murderer use some type of new super powerful stun gun, perhaps?
The answer to that will become crystal clear as this trial proceeds, Your Honor.
Actually, I would like for you to answer me right now and tell me what your case is before we continue the trial. Anyways.
But before that, there is one more vital issue.
What's that?
Why, motive, of course. Apparently, there was some bad blood between the victim and the defendant.
Bad blood? What do you mean?
Oopsie, I'm terribly sorry. You're the defense attorney, so you must know all about it.
He's not wrong.
I shouldn't be stealing your spotlight like this.
I really don't like this guy's smug attitude.
But that's what's to pay for you. He's one smooth operator, if you catch my drift.
I liked what the game's doing here. Oh, Winston Payne actually was competent. Something happened. I'll give these dudes credit, though. You do not see attorneys dressed in these colored suits around here. It's like a big deal when I used to walk in with like a purple shirt. But the suits themselves would still be very, you know, neutral. Dark gray, dark blue. You know, that sort of thing. A little lighter gray, never black. Blacks are for weddings and for funerals only, I was told in law school.
They don't call him the rookie killer for nothing, you know.
Now then, let's hear from the defense. What was the source of the bad blood between the victim and the defendant? And this time I would like to see some supporting evidence. Evidence?
I know that you cannot work up over this, and I said, our weapons can be found in the court record. On the evidence you need, and then shove it into old Graybeard's face.
Old Graybeard, I like it. Yes, sir, into old Graybeard's face. Mr. Grossberg, try to set a better example for the young lady. I can hear everything you're saying. Dude just ignores him.
But yeah, evidence isn't the only thing in the court record.
Mr. Grossberg,
People's profiles are as well.
I'm trying to talk.
You can toggle between profiles and evidence with the R button, so be sure to get it over it all. Go over it all.
Now then, whatever. Let's see what you've got. Dahlia Hawthorne presents. Oh, why? The reason for the bad blood between the two of them was this woman here. Dahlia Hawthorne, is it?
Very good, Miss Faye. You seem to have picked up at least this much. This woman is the girlfriend of the defendant, Phoenix Wright. But up until about 8 months ago, she was with the victim, Mr. Swallow. Clearly, she has some part to play in this story.
He's done it again. Before the cross-examination starts, he's already got the judge thinking like he wants.
You should add, it's because the judge is very easily influenced and it can very easily swing back in your favor. So relax. Very well, Mr. Payne. Please call your first witness.
If it pleases the court, the prosecution would like to call Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What? The defendant himself? Well, Mrs. Faye? Sorry, Miss Faye. Thought I saw a ring on your finger. Just appears to be a glint of glitter or something. It's fine. After all, Mr. Wright is innocent, right? The defense has no objection. It's interesting that they haven't done that before in the prior 2 games, and now they are. Just interesting. Very well. The court calls Mr. Phoenix Wright to the witness stand.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes. My name is Phoenix Wright. My job is, well, right now I guess I'm a suspect. No, he means what did you do before you were arrested? Oh, what? I was a university student.
Mr. Wright, you understand that you are suspected in the death of your fellow student, Doug Swift.
But I didn't do it. I'm innocent, I tell you. I tell you. Would the defendant please refrain from passing on his cold to the rest of us?
It seems the witness has something he wants to say.
Well then, Mr. Wright, please tell us about your relation to the victim. Right away, Your Honor. I admit I was there, but I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. I see. So you hardly knew the victim? Right, like I said, I'm not a killer. Phew, looks like the judge understands.
Being naive, you know, too naive.
Huh?
It seems that you forgot one small thing, young lady.
And that would be?
This witness still has to undergo something called cross-examination.
Cross-examination?
Right. The defense is to carry out the cross-examination. Purpose is to determine if a witness's testimony contains any contradictions.
Contradictions?
Witnesses lie. The statements will conflict with the court record.
But Mr. Wright is my client.
Even if he was a client, the court, all lies must be struck down. As a lawyer, that is your duty, you see.
That is not the duty of a lawyer in the United States. That would be all well and good, but it's not their duty. Their duty is to defend their client to the best of their ability and put together the strongest case. In fact, if you are seen as doing something to undermine your client in any way, you could be disciplined for that and like kicked off the case. Here, it is not the duty of the defense lawyer to call out their own client's lies. That is what the prosecutor is supposed to do. We don't do their job for them. That's basically what this is. Another thing I want to mention now that I'm talking about it, I've mentioned this before, but I just want to, since we're here for, actual discussion about this sort of thing, I want to point out that if the opposing side calls your client as a witness, normally they're doing it in an adversarial manner. They're saying, I want to treat this witness adversely because it gives them certain abilities, because what they're saying is, I want to address this witness as an enemy sort of thing. And that kind of changes up how the line of questioning goes, because then they still get to direct. Because the important thing to know between direct and cross-examination, and this game does very well so point this out, is that when you're cross-examining, you can only cross-examine based on what was in direct. So that's why in the game, it's not like in this game, you're not allowed to ask your own question, besides the limitations of the console itself, obviously. You're not allowed to go out of your way to ask like other random shit. Like, you get his statements, and that is what you are analyzing. Hey guys, Twin here with post-production notes. I was editing this video and I realized that I was so caught up and focused on talking about the cross-examination versus direct and how they have to follow each other thing that I neglected to mention. A defendant as an adverse witness basically can't happen, because the defendant can simply say, I refuse to testify, because they have the right to in the United States to refuse to testify, or he has the right to plead the fifth, as they say. What does he mean by that? Is he saying that testimony just now, that there was a lie, a contradiction? Now then, your cross-examination, if you please, Miss Faye. Please, Mr. Wright, tell me you haven't been lying. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? He just met you! When you say there, you mean the place where the victim was murdered? Yes, sort of. The place where something happened anyway.
Something? You can't hide what happened. We have photographic evidence.
As much as I sneeze, I can't fake sneeze well. Anyway, Mr. Wright, what were you doing at the scene of the crime? I thought you said you didn't know the victim, Mr. Swallow. It's just a coincidence. We bumped into each other by accident. A coincidence, huh? You say you found the body, so who called the police? Huh?
Unfortunately, it was some other students that notified the police.
Other students?
That's correct, they were witnesses. Witnesses who saw the defendant standing there next to the body and shot him.
What? Is this true, Mr. Wright? True. Stop sneezing every time you're in a bind? Well, it's true that I was pretty shocked when I found the body, but I hardly knew the guy to begin with. So you didn't know his face or even his name, right? Right. Well, no. That is, I mean, so which is it? Did you know him or not? Now, see here, you can't avoid answering the question by sneezing all day. Well, I guess I did know his name. News to me? Everything is news to you because you don't know anything about the case. Why didn't he tell me that before? I heard he used to date Dolly. Who is this Dolly person?
Oh yes, that would be the defendant's lover, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh, I see. Ah, young love, so bittersweet. But that's all I knew about him. He still had those eyebrows then. Mr. Wright, you stated the following in your testimony. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. That's right, I mean, why would I even... But that doesn't sound right. If you hardly knew him, then why would you say that the victim was a stuck-up British wannabe? Well, Mr. Wright? No, it wasn't me. I'm not a killer, I swear. Mr. Wright, I will give you an opportunity to revise your testimony. How is it that you knew the victim was, as you put it, a British wannabe? Yes, well, he was always walking around with a Union Jack on the back of his shirt. Did you see it at the crime scene? The Union Jack, I mean. Yes, that's right. I saw it at the crime scene. That's why I figured he must love British stuff, see? It's true, cross my heart. I swear I didn't do it. He's acting fishier than the salmon I ate last night. May I ask you something, Miss Faye? Yes, Your Honor. What is it now? Who is this person anyways, this Union Jack fellow?
The Union Jack is the name of the United Kingdom's flag.
Oh, I see. So you mean like the stars and stripes, right?
As usual, Your Honor, your insight astounds me.
I actually like how low-key super sarcastic that was. Hey, something just occurred to me. Isn't there something strange about this bit just now?
Yeah, there's a contradiction here.
Mr. Grossberg.
Quickly now. Show that boy you mean business. With evidence, I mean. Yeah, fuck him over your client. That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay, Mia, check the court record carefully.
Well, ma'am, you think you can manage at your own place, what?
1 year ago, I was in a courtroom just like this. I can do it. I can handle this myself.
You mustn't try to write up more than you can chew, ma'am.
I'll be fine. I know what I have to do.
Remember, you can always press him to get more information. Oh, and one more thing. You're going to state a contradiction. Make sure you present some definitive proof.
Okay, Mia, one more time from the very beginning of his testimony. There's nothing on his... Yeah, he's not wearing a fucking Union Jack. Are you certain you saw the Union Jack? Yeah, I'm sure. It was right there on his back. Miss Fay, is there some point to this line of questioning? Your Honor, please take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing on the victim's back. Hey, wait a minute! He's wearing a leather jacket! Union Jack was on the back of the t-shirt he was wearing. I was under the impression that you accidentally came across the body. But if that was really the case, then you wouldn't know that, would you? You'd have no idea at all what he was wearing underneath that jacket. Mr. Wright, you've been lying to me. Please forgive me, why?
Man, you made our client cry.
This is what annoys me about that whole principle. It's great in theory, but here's the deal. If we do that, then we are, by exposing a client's lie, by definition going against the client's interests. And then, when it actually happens and we do it right, then we have fucking Grossberg like,
Man, you made our client cry. How fucking dare you do your job as I told you to do it?
And it's like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Relax, relax, relax. Let him. That P on his chest doesn't stand for Phoenix anyways. I can't believe I trusted him. Mr. Wright was all wrong.
That was an impressive bit of cross-examination. Thank you for fucking over your client for me. Thank you for uncovering the defendant's lies for me. It's quite clear that this man did not simply stumble upon the scene of the crime.
Uh-oh, did I go too far? You were told, you did exactly what you were told to do. He literally said it's your duty to expose lies. Although it makes me physically cringe that it's happening.
By the way, Mr. Wright, you seem to have a rather bad cold. Have you taken any medicine for it?
Yeah, I took some, but...
What was that medication that you took an over-the-counter brand called Cold Killer X?
Yeah, that's right. It kills colds good. Hey, wait a second. How'd you know I'm a big fan of Cold Killer X?
Would you happen to have that medicine with you right now?
Well, actually, I seem to have lost it somewhere. He lost it? Does this even have anything to do with the case? No, objection relevancy. At least get the judge to press on the other attorney to get to his point.
Mr. Wright, shall I tell you where your cold medicine is right now?
Huh?
Your Honor, I'd like you to take a look at another photo from the crime scene.
What's this? In the victim's hand, it's Cold Killer X. Yes, but even I've got a bottle of Cold Killer X in my apartment.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that argument won't work. There's no doubt as to who this bottle of Cold Killer X belongs to, especially since Mr. Wright's fingerprints are all over it.
What?
Sensing his murderous intent, Mr. Swallow must have picked up the bottle of medicine, dropped by Mr. Wright, and hid it in his hand. His purpose in doing so could only have been to identify his killer as Phoenix Wright.
Order in the court.
Your Honor, I'd like to present this photo and bottle as evidence.
Very well. The court will accept them into the record.
Also, the victim's wristwatch was broken.
Broken?
Yes, it ceased functioning when a large wave of electricity passed through it. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have some sort of explanation for all of this?
Ugh. This is really bad.
Oh my buttocks, my poor hemorrhoids.
Truth is, I went because he called me. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. We talked for a bit, and then at around 3 o'clock we split up. Then later, when I went back, I found him lying there. I've been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 or 3 days, but I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. Mr. Wright, that's completely different from the testimony you gave previously. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was afraid you wouldn't believe the truth.
You'll forgive me if I say I hardly find your current testimony any more credible.
Miss Fay, please begin your cross-examination. Oh, please, Mr. Wright, don't tell any more lies. The truth is, I went because he called me. Called me. You ever met the victim before then? No, never. But that day he called me up and told me he wanted to talk about Dolly. And this Dolly person is my, kind of embarrassing. She's my, sweetheart.
Oof. What was that for, Mia?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like slapping something all of a sudden.
Dahlia Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim, Doug Swallow. Before she met Mr. Wright, that is.
So it was one of those nasty love triangles, I see. Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated you should meet at 2:45? Yeah, and we were both there right on time. You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct? Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU. An alchemist, I see. I gotta admit, it was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run on high voltage electricity. Ho ho, how fascinating. He sounds like he was quite an ambitious young man. What do I do? Maybe I should ask him for some more details? I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department. Okay, sure. I don't know all that much, though. A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high voltage electricity. That's right, and they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltages, so there are high voltage cables everywhere. High voltage cable? Yeah, there are electrical poles set up all around the building. The high voltage cables run overhead around the roof. Finally, I think we're getting somewhere. So what was it you were talking about? You know. That maybe we should hang out again sometime. Hang out again sometime? I wish that were true. So you say you went back? Yeah, that's when I found the body. Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him? Well, that's right, I was. Then why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there? Thought maybe we could make up. Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying this. It's rather unusual to catch cold this time of year, isn't it? Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. I guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in spring, huh? I suppose common sense is not always common. So? Did anyone else know that you were taking this cold medicine? Well, I always took one after meals, so I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. The day of the incident? What did you do for lunch? Huh? What does that have to do with anything? I can never be too sure. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini omelets are magically delicious.
Ouch, why did you punch me in the jaw?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death. And then the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason.
I'm not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either.
Let me be frank here. Never interrupt me again in your life, Mr. Payne. You will know when it is your turn to speak. Anyways, Mr. Wright, your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean?
I knew it was too much work for a little girl.
It's really easy to talk shit when, like, the Japanese system apparently makes it, embarrassingly difficult to defend your client. However, there is one mystery that still remains.
There is, Your Honor?
How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct?
Well, that is, you are correct, Your Honor.
So how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this smelling like a rose. Oh no, we can. Look at the electrical wires. And he had an umbrella, thus it was raining, I assume. That would have conducted electricity. Your Honor. Yes, Miss Faye? I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up till now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died. That would be most impressive.
Quite the brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their arguments with evidence.
Of course I know that. Actually, I'd totally forgotten about that. How do you forget about that? I'm pretty sure most people that aren't attorneys know that. Now then, Miss Faye, let me see. Why did I give him her voice? Now then, Miss Faye, let me see what you got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted. As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well. What? But there's nothing even remotely resembles a murder weapon here. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain this in a bit more detail. Miss Faye, where exactly in this photo is the murder weapon? Well, naturally, it's right here. What is that? A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honor? Remember the testimony we've heard. The machines the pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage. And because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere. So then the high voltage cable. Yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation. That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I believe some praise is in order.
Don't toy with me, old man.
Now, the victim's cause of death may indeed have been a high voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was the defendant.
That much is certainly true.
Yes, and that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that will establish that Mr. Wright was the murderer.
You do? Well, what is it?
His fingerprints.
Fingerprints? You mean that the defendant's fingerprints were on something besides the medicine bottle?
Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim is wearing a leather jacket. As you may know, the leather holds fingerprints quite well.
You mean...
Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket, the palm print of the defendant's very own hand.
What?
I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent on murder, he squarely pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable.
He actually very much could have pushed him in the chest with no intent to actually kill. I would say that most people that push someone don't do it with the intent of killing them. Order, order, order. That's enough. I think we can conclude there's no reason to continue with this cross-examination.
Take a break with us, we're done.
Mr. Grossberg!
My hemorrhoids never lie. The show's over, Mia. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him.
No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent. No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt. Your Honor, at this time I am prepared to render a verdict in this case. Do you have something further to add, Miss Faye? Is that what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth, the whole truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. But I just can't say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me, as well as everyone else who's in this courtroom. Miss Faye, no matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you and I'll represent you to the very end. I would have no judgments if Phoenix just crushed on her super fucking hard after this. How do you not? Are you gonna object to that? What are you objecting to?
We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further needs for him to say anything.
Wait a minute. Oh, he objected to what she said earlier, which he should have just done right away instead of letting her go on. Mr. Wright, I'll tell you what really happened.
But I've already told you, Mr. Wright. There's no need for further.
I did it. I admit it, I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault that Doug Swallow is dead. Oh, that girl, you shouldn't see her any. She has a British. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you, for your sake. If you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news, Snake. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. Damn. He got him, he lifted him off of his feet with that push? Good God. Just cut off your fingers. Don't have fingerprints. What you just said, was that the truth? Yes, I was afraid. Afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was the murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're all absolutely convinced you are. Please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear I'll tell the whole truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Faye? I believe in you. Oh, thank you. Still can't believe it. You really did push the victim.
It was like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harlem Shake.
And for those that don't know what the actual Harlem Shake is, this is what he's saying. His hemorrhoids down here. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. I have never heard of someone describing something in their body as doing a Harlem Shake. That sounds fucking brutal. I now feel for him. Whew, so yeah, that's what the Harlem Shake really is. And apparently it's happening in his asshole. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. That moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. So I went back, but he was just lying there dead.
Well, the explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. There's the rain. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted.
But when I pushed him, there weren't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed. That's true. Even a doofus like him couldn't have missed that. Miss Faye, let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that would prove it. So what kinds of things did Mr. Swallow say to you? He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a bad girl, that he wanted to spank her. Is that all? Yup. Well, Miss Faye, you heard him yourself. Oh boy, you're not doing yourself any favors here, Mr. Wright. Please don't make this harder for me than it already is. Anyway, after he said that, I just... Can you tell me about what happened in a little more detail? That guy, he just said what he wanted to say to me. Then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave. That's when I lost my temper and flew into a furious frenzy, so much so that I pushed him. I mean, to be fair, he did push him so hard that his feet lifted off of the ground. I have never been pushed like that before. I just gave him a light, gentle shove to the chest. In my fury frenzy that I just said that I had. And when you did that, there was no severed cable anywhere to be seen. Right, there was nothing like that at all.
But is it possible that you merely overlooked?
Shut the fuck up, Payne. You can get your redirect in after I'm done with my cross-examination. Otherwise, don't interrupt our testimony, unless you have an actual objection. Well, I guess it's possible. What are you doing? Don't let that guy steamroll over you like cheap asphalts. I believe what's important here is the moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the testimony, witness. Loud noise? And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like, snap! You know, come to think of it, I wonder what that was.
Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted.
You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. We'll come back to it. I've got other more pressing things to ask about. Very well, Mr. Wright. Let's move on, shall we? After you shoved the victim, did you leave the scene right away? Yes, I did. I admit it, I was furious.
You left without even checking Mr. Swallow's condition?
Well, yeah. But like I said, I got worried about him later. At that time, did you see anyone else at the scene of the crime? Nope, nobody. Jeez, could that stupid cough possibly sound any phonier? In that case, it's very hard to believe someone else could have been the murderer.
As we can find something that shows his innocence for that testimony, my dear, I'm afraid that Trep will make his final decision with no remorse whatsoever.
Yes, sir. Now I need more info that will help me turn up some contradictions. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important. Let's try to remember what it was. How do I put this? It was like a sharp crack. Ah, could it have been? Yes, could it have been? Hurry up and tell us! When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it and broke. That was probably the noise I heard. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, something owned. Then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye, what do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Yes. Well, of course it's important. This is it, Mia. The new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important, it's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony.
How perfectly fitting flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer.
I swear to God, Mr. Payne, if you insult the opposing attorney one more goddamn time, I will hold you in contempt and sanction you under my power as a judge of this court. That's poor, really poor form. The court agrees to the defense's request. Witness, please add the bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. So Mr. Swallow fell on top of his umbrella, and you are certain of this? Yeah, it was right there under him. Actually, if it hadn't been under him, I was planning on borrowing it for myself. The umbrella, you mean? Well, yeah, you see, I was wearing the sweater here. Dolly stayed up late for nights at a time knitting it for me. I didn't want the rain to dampen the handmade symbol of her love.
My stomach is not to be used as a personal soccer ball, Mia.
Ah, I'm so sorry. Damn, man. Continue on with your testimony, witness. But if he landed on his umbrella, why would he be on his belly after he got pushed backwards? Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on, if I had mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier.
What do you mean by that?
Take another look at the crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole. You're absolutely right. The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive.
No!
Order. The victim, he moved? Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now?
Well, it was collected by the police at the crime scene.
I want it presented as evidence immediately.
But the umbrella could have simply been blown there by the wind.
According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind. But I know this matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment.
No! My mohawk I just grew.
I must say, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecutor's case by the defendant's testimony.
Well done, Mia.
Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about?
Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone.
I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying. Are you saying you half-assed your job? Because judges do not like to hear when attorneys half-ass their jobs. Let me guess, you have another witness.
Exactly. And this witness's testimony will be incontrovertible.
Well, who is this witness?
Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Dahlia Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly?
I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right. She was at the scene of the crime where the murder took place.
What?
I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear.
Ooh. Ooh, I like it. I like the hair flip. Bad news? You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this.
You can't be serious.
Mia, what do you mean by that?
I think this is a good point for us to stop at. Court will now enter a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. It's alright. At least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright. Yeah, so I guess I can start to relax then, huh?
Relax, my boy. You can't be serious after hiding such important facts.
But the next witness is my Dolly, right? She'll save me. I just know she will. Why would the prosecution be bringing her as a witness if her testimony... Use logic, Face. Why do you think that? Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life, that's why. The love of your life, huh? Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? Sure, no problem. Dolly and I, we first met about 8 months ago right here in this very courthouse. Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer on the side. Anyway, one day she and I just bumped into each other in the reading room downstairs. That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. On the day you met? She had been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off. But before she gave it to me, she said, I want you to carry this.
So she gave it to you as a present, I see.
This darling little bottle is filled with memories of my darling little Dolly. It certainly is a little bottle, all right. It makes me so happy. I show it to everyone I meet. I want to share my happiness with the whole world. Anyway, so after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating? Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now.
What a strange girl asking for a present back like that.
Is she having him, like unknowingly drug run for her or something? Jesus. By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Dahlia Hawthorne 8 months ago didn't happen to have been on August 27th, would it? Huh? Yeah, it was. But how did you... This happened on August 27th, right here in this courthouse. What's this, a newspaper clipping? Let's see. Murder in the court... Murder?
What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Mia, I think I understand what you're trying to say. And I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there is some connection between these two cases, am I correct?
I hope you don't mind, Mr. Grossberg. I need to finish this myself.
Yes, but I'm afraid what you have will not be enough for you. I'll go and have a look at the downstairs reading room, see what else I can find.
Thank you.
I want to do whatever I can of help to you, yeah? Well, it looks like recess is right over. We better all get moving.
I guess so. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes, though. Always goes by really slow. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Payne, please call your witness.
This next person is someone who witnessed the crime as it happened. Prosecution calls Miss Dahlia Hawthorne to the stand.
Oh my god, she just looks faked. Someone get those goddamn butterflies out of my courtroom. What's with this stiff silence? In my long career as a judge, I have been deceived by many witnesses. It is my job to doubt, to take no one at their word. But in your case, I must admit that you irradiate a glow of complete sincerity. I can't believe he actually said that. I can't believe he actually said that either. I need her OnlyFans right now.
OnlyFans. Oh, now then, witness, could you please state your full name?
Don't worry, sweetie. There's no need to be nervous.
If anyone says anything rude, you can be sure I'll cut them right down to size.
And I will bash them with my gavel. I love how they look straight at me when they say that. Thank you for calming my nerves. You're all so nice. I almost feel right at home.
Not at all.
It was nothing. Oh my god. This is embarrassing for them.
The client must state their OnlyFans account for the court record. For the sake of substantiability. They have to make sure we have everything we need.
If we may move on now, what is your full name and occupation? Wait, why is Mia giving the direct? My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a junior in literature at Ivy University. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence.
The honor is all mine.
No, the honor is all mine. Well, we know whose milkshakes brings all the... Songs I never expected to be referenced in a Phoenix Wright game. Oh, the dialogue in these games can be absolutely fantastic. Even like the really corny pop culture references are fucking hysterical. Well, honey, I could teach you, but I'd have to charge. Anyway, sir?
There's something I can help you with?
You just go on and say whatever is on your mind.
I'm sure that there must be some kind of mistake. Feeny wouldn't kill anyone.
Yarg. Yes. I can see why you'd say that. She's going to be a tough witness, all right. It only took her 12 seconds to wrap them all around her little finger. I've heard enough. She said Phoenix Wright would never kill anyone, and thus I believe her 100%. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I believe that, but I have to go through this whole procedure due process nonsense. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Let's hear about what you witnessed on the day of the incident, if you please.
I had been planning to go back to Feeny's place after class was over. Feeny and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. Then suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. That's when Feeny noticed that I was there. I went to go and find some other students and they called the authorities.
I don't know what to say. According to you, Miss Hawthorne, the defendant, didn't do anything wrong.
Isn't that what I said earlier? Did I stutter?
Young lady, as old as I am, even I recall how hot the flames of young passion can burn. Nevertheless, it is my job to discover the truth. Please tell us the truth.
But I would never.
That's more than enough, witness. I won't allow this to continue. What do you mean by that? Please, just let me proceed with my cross-examination, Your Honor. I, for one, don't plan to win my case on a bunch of paper-thin lies. If that's what wins you the case. Who fucking cares?
Tee, you haven't changed one bit. Mia Fey.
What's this? So you two are acquainted?
Yes, we've met before, once. In any case, Miss Fey, the floor is all yours.
It's good to see you again, Madam Fey.
Madam? I'm no one's grandma yet, girlie. Madam.
I had been planning to go back to Phoenix.
Now, unless I'm mistaken, Mr. Wright, is in the art department. If that's the case, then what were you doing by the pharmacology building?
Well, I'm in the literature department. I'm studying Japanese Senryu poetry.
Oh ho! Ho! How wonderful. It's that humorous, yet satirical style of haiku, yes?
Nothing left to do when a man reaches this age. Sleep is his best friend.
That's supposed to be poetry? Sounds more like a midlife crisis.
For me to get to the art department, I have to walk through that back area.
Ah, yes, I see. That makes sense. When I want to enter the courthouse, I always walk through the front doors. How else would you enter? Teleportation?
Actually, there's usually a back way. Usually.
And that's how most judges would enter. In a way that in a portion that the general public would not always be entering. So who is this Dougie person?
Oh, I'm sorry, Doug Swallow. We were dating until about 8 months ago.
So what were Dougie, Mr. Swallow, and Mr. Wright talking about anyways?
Can you be so mean? I would never eavesdrop. I wasn't raised to be so rude and unrefined.
That's right, Miss Faye.
Don't drag the witness down to your level. Why am I being demonized here? What did you see next? Are you saying that the victim just collapsed on his own?
Yes.
In other words, the defendant never touched the victim, is that right?
I was watching the whole time, and he never did a thing to Dougie.
I press her for no good reason. I just know the judge will get angry with me. What should I do about her testimony just now? Feeble lies are not very becoming, Miss Hawthorne, so let's drop them, shall we?
What? I would never.
Miss Faye, I will not allow you to badger this witness. I believe the defense is engaged in a fishing expedition. That is, she is all supporting... Please don't glare at me like that. I'm just doing my job.
And very poorly at that. Your job isn't to waste the court's time. Now then, Miss Hawthorne. The defendant's palm print was found on Mr. Swallow's leather jacket. It has already been shown that Mr. Wright did in fact push the victim.
What?
There's no need to try to cover for the defendant. It would be much better if you came out and told us the whole truth. There's nothing to worry about, young lady. Just tell us everything that you saw.
Yes, Your Honor, I will. If you don't mind, I'd like to revise my testimony.
Looks like we're finally getting somewhere.
Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie.
You didn't see it?
Well, I saw the moment when Dougie fell to the ground.
And at that time there was only the two of them at the scene? The defendant Phoenix Wright and the victim Doug Swallow?
Yes, that's right. Didn't look like they were fighting. I didn't hear anything unusual either.
So then what did it look like they were doing to you?
I thought they were having a nice friendly afternoon conversation.
Oh, give me a break.
That's why I really wasn't watching them all that closely.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all?
No, nothing at all, Mr. Judge.
Oh, I like the sound of that, Mr. Judge. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. When you say students, do you mean students from the pharmacology department?
Yes, they're all very fond of the Yes, they're all very fond of their drugs.
Please try to stay on topic. So to find some pharmacology students, you went to the labs, correct?
That's what I was planning to do, but in the end I wound up not going. A group of about 10 research students came running out of the building entrance. Somehow they all seemed to know what was going on.
Students knew what was going on? But how could the students have known what was going on?
Well, I don't know for sure that they knew what had happened. It's just they all seemed kind of excited about something.
Doesn't look like I'm going to get any more info about the students.
So the students call the police?
Yes, I was so panicked.
Yes, well, anyone would have been, my dear. That girl, she's telling a super obvious lie and she knows it. She's just pretending to protect Mr. Wright. Yes, that's got to be it. Way to go, Mia. Didn't we all figure that out like 20 minutes ago? As soon as she opened her mouth, we're like, okay, she's fake. Okay, that means I'm going to have to dig deep to find contradictions on this one. I didn't hear anything unusual either.
Objection!
You say you didn't hear anything unusual, is that correct?
Yes, that's why I was very relaxed looking at the scenery around me.
Hair flip. That's nice, but I find that just a little odd. I have here the testimony of your boyfriend, Mr. Phoenix Wright, and he clearly testified to the effect that when he pushed the victim, he heard a sharp, loud noise.
He said that?
you were really that close to the two of them. Why didn't you hear this noise as well? This is what really would have happened. If somehow this ridiculous charade was something that actually would have happened in a court of law in the United States. This is what the defense attorney does. Wow, she's got it wrapped around their finger. This could be either really good or really bad. My Feeny wouldn't ever do anything wrong. Well, it sounds like he didn't do anything wrong. No, he did not, Your Honor. I find the defendant not guilty. But no, the scams are like, you have to expose all the lies and do the prosecution's job.
Well, maybe the noise just wasn't all that memorable.
But according to Mr. Wright's testimony, it was a sharp noise like a snap. There's no way a noise like that could fail to make an impression. Look.
May I have a moment to answer?
By all means.
I know the reason why I didn't hear the noise. You see, the truth is, I had my headphones on and was listening to music at the time.
Headphones? You mean that both of your ears were covered?
The rain was just beginning to let up, but it seemed as though Thor wasn't ready for his fun to come to an end yet. So the sky continued to flash and rumble. Thunder and lightning, huh? I'm afraid of the sound of thunder, so I put my headphones on to block it out.
Oh, that doesn't sound creepy at all when I laugh like that and this young lady is over here and I'm leering at her. Well, Your Honor, as you can see, there weren't any contradictions in your testimony at all.
Wait a sec, Mia. That testimony just now. She said something that could totally change the whole case. Your Honor, there is a problem with the witness's testimony.
Well, what do you mean?
Didn't you notice? She said there was lightning, correct?
Yes, what about it?
Well, lightning is actually a large discharge of electricity in the atmosphere, am I right? Now's not the time for a science lesson, Miss Fay. Actually, the courts usually involve many science lessons in these types of trials. Yes, Your Honor. Anyway, since the cause of death was electrocution, isn't it possible that the victim died from being hit by bolts of lightning? I must admit that the thought had not occurred to me. Just what kind of thoughts do occur to this guy anyway? Dunk on him, Mia. This entire case is built on the premise that Mr. Doug Swallow was murdered, but that very premise itself is mistaken. The defense believes that Mr. Swallow was, in fact, the victim of a stray bolt. It appears the defense may be onto something. Could it be that the death was actually accidental? Alright, you did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not guilty now.
I'm hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Fay.
Huh?
I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution has done its research, Your Honor. We found that there were no lightning strikes on that day at that location.
What?
What's more, we have evidence that the electrical cable is definitely linked to this case.
Evidence, Mr. Payne? Well, what is this evidence?
This affidavit.
And who is this affidavit from?
The pharmacology students who were conducting experiments in their labs that day. Allow me to read out to the court the testimony of the pharmacology students. All equipment in the labs lost power all of a sudden at around 3 p.m. that day.
Was it a blackout?
Well, the lab's equipment runs on high voltage, Your Honor.
So you're saying the equipment lost power because?
Precisely. They lost power because of the severed electrical cable. The power outage occurred at approximately 3 o'clock p.m.
Which fits with the time of death listed in the autopsy report.
Exactly. In other words, the victim died as a result of touching the severed electrical cable. According to the students, the cables were very old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future.
I see.
Apparently the cables had become so brittle that even the smallest bump could have caused them to break.
However, there's one thing that troubles me. If the cable could have been broken by any small bump, then it wouldn't have snapped if it had been bumped into, correct?
Well, I suppose you could say that.
Miss Fay, do you have any thoughts regarding the cause of the severed cable? Your Honor? I don't like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try to regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defense would like to state its opinion. Oh, then let's hear it. Who or what was it that caused the cable to break? Yeah, I guess it can't be under the umbrella because that's really high. for the umbrella to have reached. So what could have bumped up that high that could cause the snap to happen? It's not just her, right? If it was bumped, are they saying this flew out of someone's hands? I'm honestly kind of stumped. I'm not seeing the logic behind it. I have to think like the game. I think the idea is that she planted the pills, right, in his hands? I'm almost certain that I'm overthinking it. Who or what? I think it can't be the crime photo based on that question. Maybe I'm not picking Phoenix because I don't want it to be Phoenix. Damn. I completely admit I never wanted to even consider Phoenix. And if I had, we probably would have used this earlier, but I was really hoping the answer wasn't Phoenix because, again, my knee-jerk reaction is to never, ever implicate my own client. Your Honor, please think back to Mr. Wright's testimony, the defendant's testimony. He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud, sharp noise. Now, this happened at around 3 p.m., correct? Yes, that sounds right. Wait, are you saying that the lab equipment lost power at 2:55 p.m., which fits right in Mr. Wright's timeline? In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage.
Yes, the prosecution also came to that same conclusion. It was that very shove that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted.
I'm afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne.
What's that supposed to mean?
Take a good look at where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. That's right, the victim banged into that pole as the result of being pushed. It was that impact that caused the cable to break. Well, that makes sense, and then the victim was electrocuted. Hair flip. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but no. It doesn't make sense at all. The victim was shoved into the far pole, and he couldn't have been electrocuted by the severed cable in the foreground here. Ah! In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim. Order in the court. Ah, the lamentations of my enemy, how I've longed to hear them. Wow, savage. It's true, the defense is absolutely correct. There doesn't seem to be any way the defendant could have done it.
Mr. Judge, sir? May I say something? Madam Attorney's explanation. She said some things that are a little different than I remember them.
What the?
Please, just once more. May I please testify one last time? Please, Mr. Judge?
Of course it's all right. Just go right ahead and give your new testimony. This is it. She's finally starting to show her true colors.
Truth is, Feeny pushed him twice. The first time it was into the electrical pole. That's when the cable broke. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him, but Feeny caught up and crashed into him from behind. The cable snapping, and Dougie being electrocuted all occurred in less than a minute.
That's where we got her. Ladies and gentlemen, we got her. So after being shoved, the victim got up and tried to run away. Unless I'm like a step ahead of the game again, which happens sometimes.
That is when the defendant pushed him for the second time.
I'm so sorry, Feeny, but I just have to tell the truth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I, Mr. Judge?
Oh. Of course you are, my dear. As painful as it may seem, you are. Now then, Miss Fay, you may proceed with your cross-examination. She outs herself here. It couldn't have all happened in less than a minute if that clock stopped at 3:05 and the power outage stopped at 2:55. But I don't know if this might be getting ahead of ourselves. I'm not sure. We might have to take one other step before we do this. Nope. That's enough, witness.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
You will in a minute. Could you please take a look at this picture?
Oh, that medicine. That's the one Feeny likes to take for his cold.
It's not the medicine I want you to look at. It's the wristwatch. It stopped at the precise time the victim was electrocuted. In other words, 3:05 p.m. Yes, and your point is, Miss Fay? My point is this. What time was it when the lab suffered the powder outage? Sorry, not the powder outage. The power outage due to the cable snapping?
Well, according to the student's testimony, the answer is clear. It was 2:50. Oh, shit!
Would you care to explain to the court, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne, what exactly happened during this 10-minute interval? Assuming the victim just didn't actually have his watch always set 10 minutes ahead to make sure he was never late for anything, like some people, the defense proposes that it was during this time interval that the real murderer killed Mr. Doug Swallow. It sets up chapter 2. Order!
This is nonsense. The real murderer?
Even you can't deny that the time between the cable break and the electrocution are completely unaccounted for.
Then who was it? Who are you saying could have done it?
There's only one person who could have murdered Mr. Swallow. Only after my client had left the scene was there a window of opportunity for the real killer. Miss Faye, is the defense ready to indict someone as this real killer? It's finally time. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, Your Honor, we are ready. Very well, but remember, if you accuse the wrong person, you will be penalized. Think very carefully before you speak, Miss Faye. It's either one of these two. It could only have been you, Dahlia Hawthorne. Wah! How?
That little offense is grasping at straws.
10 minutes passed between the time the cable broke and the time of the electrocution. What exactly were you doing that whole time, Miss Hawthorne? Were you really listening to some music while cheering them both on as they fought? I find it hard to believe that you didn't lift a finger to stop the men dearest to you. Order, Miss Faye. What? I mean, why? That is to say, Miss Hawthorne, I believe you did witness the two men fighting on that day. However, after Mr. Wright pushed the victim and subsequently left the scene, it was you who pushed Mr. Swallow to his death by your very own hands.
How can you say something so mean, Madam Faye? I didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, Phoenix. Your Honor, please, I have something I want to say. Achoo! You? What is it? Please strike everything the defense said just now from the record. What the? Are you daft? You're totally wrong, Miss Faye. Dolly, she couldn't do something like that. Mr. Wright, get back in your seat. Bailiff, grab that man. Leave my Dolly alone! Achoo!
Silent boy. He's gotten himself way over his head.
Oh, Mr. Grossberg, you're back.
It seems I arrived just in the nick of time. I found the police reported that incident in your newspaper clipping.
Thank you so much. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
You'd want to take a good look at it. Details how you came to lose your boyfriend.
Now then, the defense has made a very serious accusation. Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this?
Well, really, Your Honor,
May I interrupt you for just a moment, Mr. Prosecutor?
Don't you worry, my dear. I have the situation well in hand. Go right ahead.
Madam Faye, are you seriously accusing me of killing my sweet Dougie?
Yes, I am. Not only am I saying you murdered Doug Swallow, but you also tried to pin the whole thing on your current lover, Phoenix Wright.
I told you you should let me handle this.
Weep.
Sorry. Please go ahead.
How can you say that? I'm absolutely devoted to my dear Feeny. Notion that I would try to frame him is ludicrous. This is all just too much for poor little old me to hear. Bear.
I believe the girl's trying to ask what on earth her motive would be.
The answer to that lies somewhere in this police report. It must. 8 months ago, an incident occurred in the basement cafeteria of this building. And then, that same day, the two of them accidentally meet. Your Honor, the defense requests further testimony from Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Further testimony? What about? About the events of the day when she first met the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What could that possibly have to do with this case?
The witness claims that she has no reason to frame the defendant, am I correct? Well, I have evidence that suggests that she, in fact, had a very good reason. Very well, then. The court grants the defense's request. Young lady, would you mind staying on for just a bit longer?
Of course not, Mr. Judge.
Get ready for the battle of your life, Dahlia Hawthorne.
First met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse's basement reading room. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat, as I knew I had just drawn in a sucker. We've been going out ever since that fateful day.
We're so lovey-wovey, we literally make people sick. It's just jealousy, I think. Mr. Wright, do that again and you will be held in contempt of court, you lucky son of a bitch. And now we enter the final act of our little drama.
As we used to say in the days of my youth, go get her.
So until that time, you had been dating Doug Swallow?
Yes, I'm a real fool, I know. Letting my emotions change so quickly, I'm ashamed of myself.
No, not at all. Look at me, I'm infamous for changing my mind. Proudly. My critics have even taken to calling me Judge Fickle. Ho ho ho. Maybe you should look for a different line of work.
Despite that, however, he always sets down the correct verdict.
Why? Why do we believe that? Why do we have any reason to believe that he always hands down the correct verdict other than the game telling us that he does? That's bullshit.
That's why some people also call him the Great Judgini.
It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse's basement reading room.
The courthouse reading room? That's a strange place to meet the love of your life.
That's not true, Madam Faye. After all, Feeny was. Feeny was not only an art student, but he was also planning on becoming a lawyer.
I'm not talking about him, I'm talking about you, Miss Hawthorne. What's a literature student like you doing in a courthouse reading room?
This line of questioning is a waste of time. It has nothing to do with our murder case.
Miss Faye, I'm warning you. If this has nothing to do with Mr. Swallow's case, I have to remember the judge is on Dahlia's side. Better tread carefully. Oh, I see. Mayo was dating Diego Armando. What a sexy name. I could see her going for Diego. Poison, like the poison in that necklace. Oh my god. Come on, if you allow me some latitude, I think I can establish relevance. Please ask her to continue on with the testimony. Very well. Young lady, I've got a simple question for you. What were you doing downstairs in the courthouse reading room?
If it pleases Your Honor, the answer is simply this. I'd come to the courthouse to do some research for a paper I was writing.
Objection!
Miss Hawthorne, you weren't here because of your research paper, were you? Didn't you actually come here for a much more important reason?
What is the meaning of that cocky smile on your face, Miss Faye?
Well, I think it looks quite good on me, thank you very much. 8 months ago, right here in this very courtroom, there was another tragedy.
Another tragedy?
Do you mean the incident in which an attorney was poisoned? The name of the suspect in that incident is listed here in this report. And that name is Dahlia Hawthorne.
What?
Dahlia Hawthorne? Yes, the sweetie pie of everyone's eye, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. She was the prime suspect in a criminal case just 8 months ago. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, but the game will lead you to believe that he's never sent an innocent person to death. Even though, how would they know? How would they possibly know? How would anyone know if that's true or not? Except for the people that died. Order, order, order. This is unbelievable. It's true then. The loveliest rose can hide the... What the fuck did I tell you about interrupting me when I am talking, Attorney Payne? Shut the fuck up.
Well, you can't slander my witness with a... Winston Payne will not allow it.
Mr. Prosecutor, I believe I was speaking. Right before the judge was speaking. You have a really bad habit of interrupting people. It's kind of rude.
Pardon me. Go right ahead.
It's true that about 8 months ago, the police expressed some interest in me.
Express some interest, huh?
Mr. Judge, sir, I know I'm under oath, so I'll tell you the absolute truth. I did not commit the crime that occurred during that incident 8 months ago.
I see. Okay, I've tied the two crimes together. Now I just gotta stay on the offensive.
Well done, Mia. Oh, you really lit a fire in my heart and my buttocks. I can hardly tell which is more inflamed, my spirit or my asshole.
I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. From what I heard, it was a liquid poison that is legal at just 2 teaspoons. Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get a poison like that.
So that's what happened here 8 months ago.
However, you heard from the witness testimony, she had nothing to do with it. I think the defense is just about out of tricks.
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Payne, but I'm afraid the defense has many more tricks up its sleeve today. And I'll be sure to show them to you before the end of this cross-examination.
Oh! What the? Why does the defense suddenly feel stronger?
Mia, you're glowing with the true lawyer's aura, my dear. That proud posture and self-confidence, absolutely smashing.
What were you going to discuss? What were you talking about with the defense attorney?
Oh, I'm sorry, but that's confidential.
According to the report, you were being interviewed regarding another case.
The lawyer that was killed, he said he wanted to talk about an incident I was caught up in when I was younger.
Why don't you tell us about what that incident was?
That has absolutely nothing at all to do with this case.
Objection sustained. The defense's question is stricken from the record. You get involved in a lot of incidents, didn't you, Miss Hawthorne?
Well, I guess I was just born under a bad sign.
Don't worry, Dolly, I'll protect you. You heard the man. Now that is true love, young lady.
Oh, Feeny, please.
Those two are making me ill, albeit for decidedly different reasons. How long were you gone?
I already answered all these questions for the police. If you must know, maybe 10 to 20 minutes?
Where were you during that stretch of time? Using the toilet? What are you saying, Miss Faye? She doesn't shit. That's literally what he fucking said. Toilet, my perfect little dolly doesn't poop. Her body is ultra efficient and is able to turn all food into energy resources. God.
Oh, Feeny, please.
Police have already looked into this whole matter. This line of questioning is nothing but a waste of the court's time.
Objection sustained. Miss Hawthorne, please continue with your testimony. But how much liquid is 2 teaspoons? Well, let me see. My bottle of eye drop says it's 1/2 fluid ounces, which is equal to 3 teaspoons. It's about 2/3 of that amount, huh?
Poison was found in the lawyer's mug of coffee. Must have been after I left the table. Someone must have quietly slipped it in there.
Special kind of poison, how so?
Well, I heard that it's almost impossible to detect.
Oh, and where would something like that come from?
I'm sorry, all I know is what I overheard the policeman say. They said something about using advanced chemical processing to purify it.
Chemical process? Well, that's quite impressive. Most impressive. The better question is, how did the criminal get something like that? Could be because her boyfriend went to the pharmacology department. And that's the reason they didn't arrest you? Because no one could show how you could have gotten the poison?
I think that's a good enough reason, Madam Faye.
She's right, and I think we've all had enough of Miss Faye's questions.
So the very reason Miss Hopper was ever arrested for the crime was because no one could have shown how she could have obtained the poison.
Then all we have to do is find a way to establish how she could have gotten some, right? Right, now just how did a literature student get a hold of poison of all things? You wouldn't know how to get that kind of poison. I don't believe you.
What?
In fact, you had easy access to that kind of poison, didn't you? At your boyfriend's lab. Boyfriend? You mean the victim, Doug Swallow? That's right. Up until 8 months ago, Miss Hawthorne was dating Mr. Swallow. And if you'll recall, Mr. Swallow was a pharmacology student at Ivy University.
Pharmacology?
His laboratory contained highly advanced chemistry equipment. In fact, without such equipment, the culprit could never have attained such a rare and special poison. Well, Miss Hawthorne, it seems you had access to such a poison after all. And then it was a matter of slipping it into the victim's coffee when he wasn't looking. The only person who could have done this was the one sitting at this very table, you.
No! no!
Order, order, order. Could it be?
That's nothing but a...
May I say something, Madam Faye?
What is it, Miss Hawthorne?
The amount of poison in the coffee was 2 teaspoons, correct? In order to carry that much liquid, you would need some kind of container.
Well, yes, that's true.
I was searched immediately after the incident took place.
Quite true. In fact, the entire courthouse was turned upside down.
But they didn't find a suspicious container anywhere, did they?
She's right. They even mentioned that in the report. Though you could have easily gotten rid of something that small.
Excuse me, madam, but this is a court of law. You're saying I threw the poison container away. I think you need to show some kind of proof.
Proof? How dare you ask me for proof? She got me good with that. How did you not see that? Whatever. Provide some evidence or I'll have to disallow this line of questioning, Miss Faye.
If we come up with some evidence, we're going to lose this lead.
The police conducted a full body search of Dahlia and the entire courthouse. Yet the container holding the poison disappeared right after the crime occurred. They're going to accuse this young lady of committing the murder. Where is the container the poison was carried in? What happened? You were forced to get rid of the container in a hurry, weren't you? And that's why you passed it on to someone that had nothing to do with the case. Someone that you knew wouldn't be searched. Who is this person? Mr. Phoenix Wright, of course.
So the defendant was this witness's accomplice?
Of course not. She gave the poison to him disguised as a present.
What? But that's...
That's a charming little necklace. Is this a little bottle? It's really quite cute. Say, so what about it? What does it mean, Miss Faye? The day that the witness met and fell for Mr. Phoenix Wright was 8 months ago. August 27th, the very same day as the poisoning incident. Under the pretense of love, the witness gave my client a present. All for the purpose of hiding that one piece of evidence that would give her away. What, are you saying that there's a deadly poison in here? No, there's no longer any poison in that bottle. However, I'm certain that if the crime lab were to analyze it, they would find a trace amount. No, what? Order in the court. On behalf of Dahlia, I object. Oh, God, shut up.
Mr. Phoenix Wright, control yourself.
I won't let you bully her like this. Mr. Wright, I thought I told you to stay in your seat. Mr. Wright, why? Why are you going through so much trouble to protect her? 'Cause she is out of my league. Why? Because I'm madly in love with her. Madly in love. I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time. A long time. Mr. Wright, have you ever thought about this? Why exactly would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date you anyway? Well, I guess she must be madly in love with me too. Mr. Wright, please open your eyes to your averageness. At this point in the trial, I think it should be obvious to everyone. The real reason that Dahlia Hawthorne is dating you is because Dahlia Hawthorne was not and is not madly in love with you. The only thing she's after is that bottle necklace you love to wear around your neck. My necklace? Back there in the waiting room, you said it yourself. Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. For Dahlia Hawthorne, that necklace is irrefutable evidence of a crime. That's why she absolutely had to get it back. You're lying. But you never gave it back to her. And to make things worse for her, you insisted on showing it to everyone you met. That's why she... I don't believe you. No, that's a lie! Wow! Why is there crying like a child? Ugh!
Mia, are you alright?
Yes, I think so.
That boy, he went completely insane.
Where's Mr. Wright?
Looks like the bailiff caught him chasing me back soon enough.
Thank goodness. Oh no!
What is it?
The bottle necklace. Miss Hawthorne's present. It's gone.
What? That's terrible.
Mr. Wright must have grabbed it when he slammed into me.
Foolish boy. That's the only thing that could have saved him. What the blazes are we supposed to do now?
Mr. Wright, this sort of behavior is unprecedented in the history of this court. I'm sorry.
I'm afraid that your apology's not enough.
Mr. Wright, what'd you do with the bottle necklace? Forgive me, I'm sorry. It's okay, just give back the necklace. I ate it. Come again? You what? You ate it. It was too big to swallow, so I had to chew it into little bits first, but yeah. Ah! What the? What is he doing now? Your Honor, you've got to stop the trial. Mr. Wright, are you feeling okay? Does your stomach hurt? The bottle you swallowed may have had some poison left in it.
It seems the defendant has proven the prosecution's case for us. Clearly that bottle did not contain a deadly poison.
How can you be so sure?
I think that's obvious. As you can see, the defendant is still very much alive. As for the poison, we're like a fledgling defense attorney's overactive imagination.
So it would seem. No, there must be some mistake. The bottle must not have had any poison left in it, or it just didn't have enough in it. We already said that you needed 2 teaspoons. Either that or the poison must have lost its potency.
There, it's alright, rookie. Trusting your client is the most noble thing a defense attorney can do. And it's heartwarming to see that you place this much faith in Mr. Wright. But that's how it is for us on the prosecution side, too. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life.
You shouldn't do that.
Which is why I can say that your assessment of her is completely wrong.
She's not your client. No. That's enough. Unfortunately, Miss Fay, I cannot accept your explanation of the events. But why? This may be impossible for a beginner like you to understand. When a court of law, evidence is everything. Ugh. Even after I proved so much, is she going to get away with everything? Well, now that the suspicion surrounding Miss Hawthorne has been cleared up, I would like to proceed with this trial. Mr. Wright! I'm sorry, Miss Fay, it totally slipped my mind. I'm really, really sorry. I know you believe in me, and I feel like I really let you down. Mr. Wright, what are you trying to say? There's something I forgot to tell you. What is it? That day I met Doug Swallow? That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. It's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to something. I've done this before. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Last night, someone stole some poison from our lab. Poison? The same thing happened 8 months ago. A drug sample was stolen. She came to the lab that time too. It could only have been her. That girl's a thief. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that, Hadouken! Is it true? Did he really say that?
That's ridiculous.
There's one more thing. After I pushed him that day, I got worried and came back to have a look. And she was there. Dolly was right there. She was crouched down next to him. What? She told me not to ever tell anyone about it, but... I'm sorry, Dolly.
Your Honor, the defendant is...
Miss Fay, you tell them. Dolly didn't do it. She's innocent. So Dahlia stole poison 8 months ago too, huh? Put that together with Mr. Wright's testimony. There's only one possible conclusion. Defense believed that Miss Dahlia Hawthorne stole some poison on the night before she killed Doug Swallow. Not before. Naturally, her motive for stealing it was to kill someone. Miss Fay, if you're so certain of your theory, then let me ask you this. Mia, this is your last chance. Think carefully now. There's something that she desperately wanted to get back. Therefore, exactly who was Miss Dahlia Hawthorne planning to kill? Mr. Phoenix Wright. Mr. Phoenix Wright. There's one person that was standing squarely in Miss Dahlia Hawthorne's way, and that person was Mr. Phoenix Wright. Me?
That's preposterous. After all, it was Doug Swallow that was murdered.
Well, it's true that that's how things worked out. But let's remember that Mr. Swallow died of electrocution, not poison. The person that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison was, in fact, you, Phoenix Wright. There's no one else that it could be. But how can that be? I thought Mr. Wright and Miss Hawthorne were in love. Poor Mr. Wright, this must be killing him. Hang in there. I'll bring her to justice, I swear to. As I said before, the only thing Miss Hawthorne truly cared about was the one piece of evidence linking her to that incident 8 months ago. That's right, the bottle necklace. That's all she cared about. But even so, why would she go so far as to murder him? 8 months ago, just after the fall of that attorney in the basement cafeteria. Dahlia Hawthorne could think of only one thing, how to get rid of the bottle necklace as quickly as possible. No, it can't be. It was a pretty good move she made too. The evidence was missing for a long time. There was just one big problem. Although she got him to hide the evidence, Mr. Wright refused to return it to her. To him, that tiny little bottle was a cherished treasure. He even showed it to everyone he met.
If this was an American college, I'm pretty sure she never would have had to have gone through all this because she would have just slept with him. And while he was sleeping, she would have taken the necklace. Unless the dude like sleeps with it on. But I know it happens a little differently in Japan, so I'm not gonna criticize it.
You mean that's why she tried to kill Mr. Wright? Correct, Your Honor. It was to retrieve that piece of evidence.
That can't be true! That's impossible!
Feeny, what a joke you are. Honestly, how can any woman ever count on you for anything? I even told you time and time again to keep your trap shut about me and that necklace. You disgust me.
Miss Hawthorne, it appears that we're nearing the end of this trial.
Fine, I can tell you plan on making me into a criminal no matter what I say.
You are a criminal, Miss Hawthorne.
We'll see about that. But first, where's your evidence? It seems your sniveling little crybaby of a client has eaten the bottle as a snack.
Ugh. Well,
Hey, old man, are you senile or something? Why don't you say something instead of sitting there with that dumb look on your face?
Miss Hawthorne, what's happened to you?
Are you really that shocked? Or do you prefer me this way, Mr. Judge?
I've been simped.
With absolute no proof, you treat a voluntary witness like she's a mass murderer. Well, I have nothing more to say. I'll be heading home now if you don't mind.
But we're not finished.
Fine. Then ask this nasty old hag to finish up already.
Damn. Can't let her get away this time.
Stop, Mia. You keep on pushing without any evidence. You could pay the ultimate price for a lawyer.
The ultimate price? You'd be forced to take off your attorney's badge forever, I'm afraid.
No.
It would probably take a little more than that to actually get disbarred. Actually, I know it would take a little more than that to get disbarred in the U.S.
You better think it over carefully, Miss Faye, or should I say Miss Gray?
Well, Miss Faye, can you prove it? Provide evidence that would establish her guilt once and for all?
If I mess up here, my career as a lawyer is over. To be honest, at this point, I don't have any evidence that's well-founded. Even so, I'd rather lose my attorney's badge than let her get away with murder.
Your Honor, the defense would like to present proof.
Impossible, you can't possibly.
Stupid woman.
It is the opinion of the court that there has already been enough discussion. Therefore, I will allow only one piece of evidence to be presented. Just one? You are unable to establish her guilt. That's so stupid. That's so fucking stupid when he does that. So fucking... You would never be like... A judge would never be like, I'm only allowing you to present one piece of evidence or I'm throwing the whole case. That's so irresponsibly stupid. I understand, Your Honor.
I can just imagine the headlines for tomorrow's newspaper. Up-and-coming lawyer plummets to earth before she gets the chance to soar.
She was planning to poison Mr. Wright. If that's the case, then the poison was probably in there. Well then, Miss Faye, please present your evidence. Show to this court irrefutable proof that Miss Hawthorne was planning to kill Mr. Phoenix Wright. Here it is, Your Honor, the evidence that will prove her guilt once and for all. Cold Killer X, Phoenix Wright's beloved cold medicine?
Does our rookie defense attorney have a bit of a cold?
If I did, I still wouldn't take this cold medicine. After all, It's been poisoned. What? Remember what the defendant said in his testimony. I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime the day of the accident. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. She was the one who took his bottle of Code Killer X. Then she poisoned it, knowing that Mr. Wright was going to take some.
Now you're really grasping at straws. After all, it was the victim, Doug Swallow, that was holding the medicine.
I would like the court to recall the crime that happened here 8 months ago. Where did Miss Hawthorne hide the evidence? Huh? What are you talking about? 8 months ago, the poison was hidden in a bottle necklace, which she then gave to someone else for safekeeping. Someone she had accidentally run into in the reading room, my client, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yes, that's right. She did the same thing this time as well. After shoving the victim, Mr. Phoenix Wright left the scene of the crime. That is when the murderer, Dahlia Hawthorne, appeared. With her, she was carrying the poisoned bottle of Code Killer X. This, of course, was so she could carry out her plan to murder Mr. Wright. I believe she did testify that she was going to meet with the defendant. Yes, and she heard and saw everything that happened at the scene of the crime, including what the defendant and victim were arguing about, and the cut electrical cable. That's when she realized I can't allow Doug Swallow to live. She used the severed electrical cable to silence him forever. Unfortunately for her, this is when the problem occurred. Mr. Wright, who she thought had left the scene, came back to check on the victim. On top of that, because of the power outage, some students showed up as well. It's hardly any wonder that she was, as she put it, in a state of panic. Recall that she was carrying that bottle of poison code medicine. She must have thought, what if they searched me like they did 8 months ago?
8 months ago?
Yes, she did dispose of the evidence exactly the same way she did back then. She had someone else hold it, in this case, Doug Swallow. Oh, come on now, everyone. Surely you aren't fooled, are you? This stupid woman, she's nothing but a filthy, stinking liar. Right, Mr. Prosecutor?
Huh? Yes, that's exactly right. It's just pure desperation.
I wonder which one of us is the desperate one. So, Miss Hawthorne, this code medicine, I wonder if you wouldn't mind taking some? Well, Mr. Wright ate that necklace of yours, right? Now it's your turn to prove your innocence. What do you say? I'm just a filthy, stinking liar, then there's no need to worry. So come on, show us. I dare you to take some of this medicine right now. I double dog dare you. Well, Miss Hawthorne, she did double dog dare you. Mia Fey, Mia Fey! Wow, they did actually burn. Do you think you've won? Well, do you, Mia Fey? That's just fine. For the time being, victory is yours. For the time being? Well, I have a very long memory, you know. You and I will meet again. I'm certain of it. Well then, Mr. Judge, I'll see you later too, okay? Huh? Why, yes. I'm going to go spend a little quality time with the men in blue now. I wish you all the best. Those butterflies are dead. Add that to her charge. Just the way that it happened. There was betrayal. They trusted her. And she burned them. Whew. It's finally all over.
I refuse to accept this. The defense hasn't shown a scrap of evidence to support their outrageous claims.
But even so, your witness seems to have accepted it.
I don't care. I'm Winston Payne. I don't believe one word this rookie lawyer said.
Well then, Mr. Payne, let me ask you this.
Yes?
Would you care to try this code medicine? What? Just a little earlier, I could have sworn you said...
There. It's all right, rookie. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life.
So, if she's so trustworthy, then I'm sure there couldn't possibly be any poison in here, right?
Objection!
And here comes the backpedal. Come on now, rookie killer. Show this rookie how it's done. How much trust do you really have for this woman? Are you willing to bet your life?
Oh, no, my hair, it's flying off my beautiful hair. No, what? no.
Dude, she blew his hair away. That's how fucking baller she was. She blew his hair away. Mr. Payne, about Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll file papers for immediate arrest.
Tragic, but not surprising. I knew there was something suspicious about her from the very beginning. Don't lie, just admit you were wrong, you fucking simp. By the way, Miss Faye. Yes, Your Honor? Was it just me, or did you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne seem to know each other? Your Honor? Whether we did or not has no bearing on this case. Very well. Mr. Payne?
This can't be happening. It's a nightmare. It's like losing my daughter.
It appears Mr. Payne has lost his spirit along with his hair. Does the defendant have anything further to say? It can't be true. My dear Dolly! Very well then, I believe I'm ready to pass judgment and bring this trial to an end. The court finds the defendant, Phoenix Wright, not guilty. This court is adjourned. Thank you for everything, Mr. Grossberg.
The verdict, I thought my hemorrhoids were going to explode like Mount Vesuvius.
Vesuvius. I'm a moron.
Mount Vesuvius.
Mr. Grossberg, do you, maybe think you could stop talking about them?
That's rather rude. Anyway, this case really means, what does it really mean to have a relationship with mutual trust to client? Perhaps it was we veteran lawyers who lost sight of this.
Oh, Mr. Wright. Congratulations. Thanks. You know, I was thinking. Go on. The dolly that I saw up there on the witness stand, I don't think that was really her. What? Yeah, the dolly I know could never have said those kind of terrible things. Maybe she was like, I don't know, a fake or something. Boy, this poor kid still hasn't got a clue. You need to forget about her, Mr. Wright, for your own sake. Yeah, you're right. It's probably for the best. Also, you need to relax a bit more. Try to grow up a little. But, out of all my friends, everyone says I'm the most grown up. What kind of company does this guy keep? Right now, I'm studying to become a lawyer myself. That's what you keep saying. I thought you were in the art department. Oh yeah, I am. There's a friend that I desperately want to help. If I hurry, then I should be able to save him in time. I see. Say, Miss Faye? A lawyer is someone who can help people when they're in trouble, right? Mr. Wright. I'm still new at this myself, but I think that's exactly what a lawyer is. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'll study my butt off. I'll become a lawyer for sure. I hope we see each other again someday. Maybe even in court. Or me over your dead body. Too soon. It's been 5 years since I was acquitted of all charges. I became a lawyer like I planned and managed to save my friend. Me has passed on to a better place. For me, this trial brings up a lot of painful memories. But it also brings up some very precious ones. And memories that I thought would never rise to the surface again. Mia's gone now, but even so, I can hear her in my mind, and talking out of Maya sometime. Phoenix, no matter what, always believe in your client. In the court of law, your greatest weapon is your belief. 5 long years. Something has happened that's made me think back to her words of wisdom. That is a story for another day.